Yes, judges.
Hello, Dan. How you doing? You
What are you
all
up to, bro?
I'm actually watching the football, mate. This Surfshark VPN is a lifesaver, mate. You can watch the football with a dodgy Wi-Fi, even at the Emirates when you've got a big crowd there and everything like that, watching the football. Unbelievable.
Easy to set up? Well, it must be if you've done it, mate.
Oh, very, very funny. Even abroad you can watch all your favourite programmes. It's like being at home, mate.
And that's exactly what you guys can do too. Click the link in the description for Surfshark VPN. How's it going, people? Good morning, happy weekend, happy Saturday to you all. I hope you're all doing really well. I hope you have all had what would be a very, very hard-working week, and I hope that you're enjoying this weekend. This weekend's a big one. We all know what time it is. It's North London Derby, and it is this time at White Hart Lane. And I think people will remember this fixture over the years for good and bad memories. And to be fair, in the last, I would say, decade, there's been more bad memories than good memories there. But something tells me that this weekend is going to be an absolute thriller. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the rumours of Marcus Rashford to Arsenal. No, thank you. Do not want that happening whatsoever. So please make sure that you do me a favour and smash this like button, smash this subscribe button. Thank you all for 18k on our way to 20k. So make sure that you're part of this community. All you've got to do is click the link to say like and subscribe. And there you are. It's absolutely free. No money involved. It's just a click of two buttons. If you do want to stay in the chat, big up to everybody in the chat, then you can do that. All you've got to do is press the cross, hit like, then subscribe, and then click on the live chat. And then you're back in. It takes 2 seconds and it means so much to me. So please make sure that you do that. If you do want to click on Surfshark VPN, if you've not got a VPN yet, then I don't know what you're waiting for because you need one. Please click on the Surfshark VPN link, which is pinned into the comments, and it will take you straight through to that. All you got to do is click it, takes you through, and then you can come back and join me. So that's all I need you to do. If you're watching on catch up, then it's simple. All you've got to do is click it. It takes you straight to it, and then you can get your VPN, which everyone's now got. So please make sure that you do that. Listen, this is huge, absolutely huge, and is it the biggest? Let me ask you in the chat. Is this the biggest North London derby in the history of North London derbies? Not for both teams. It's not. No. But it's one of the biggest that Arsenal ever going to have because it's on our title run, right? And some people will say that last year was our title run as well because obviously we were needing to win games. But it was a different time of the year. It wasn't the end. The last time we played Spurs at the end, it was a poor, poor time. And I was there. 3-0, Rob Holding got sent off. Cedric was shocking. We had a terrible, terrible lineup that day. Injuries galore. And let's be real, they deserved it. But they only got on top 4. This is not about top 4. This isn't us fighting. This isn't Aubameyang missing a penalty and them trying to claim top 4 off of us. This isn't Rob Holding getting sent off so they can get top 4. This is Arsenal trying to win a game of football to go for a title. And this is why Spurs fans make me laugh. Because they will do anything possible to ruin our title. But they'll claim that as their equivalent of a trophy. Because that's the sort of fan base they are. They will go, we are the reason. We are the reason. We want to be relevant. We can't win anything to be relevant ourselves. So we'll try and ruin everyone's fun and be relevant. Poor mentality. Terrible fan base. Terrible football club. But that's Spurs. Enough on them. Let's go into Arsenal and why this game's huge. I do think this one's a massive one for us because obviously we need to now go on a perfect winning record, 100% needed. We have to win every game. And then we have to pray that Man City drops some points somehow. So let's touch on that very quickly. I didn't see Brighton taking anything off of Manchester City. And in fact, I expected the result to be at least 3, which is the prediction I went for. And Man City went 1 better and got 4. We walked past Brighton. They've got injuries. They're not really bothered. They're kind of on the beach, really. I think they've given up on European football. And it was poor, if I'm honest. I don't think Forest is going to be any different. I expect Manchester City to put at least 3 past them, maybe 4 or 5. Forest are an absolute dusty club right now. And I love Dave on this channel. But even he said the way we're run at the moment is a sham. And when I look at what happened against Everton after that, when the chairman come out with those comments, I'm not holding any hope that Nottingham Forest, although they're fighting for their lives, will pick up anything against Manchester City. So we're really preying on Fulham, who are on the beach, Wolves, who are on the beach, West Ham, who look like they're parting ways with David Moyes and have given up. So really, it's Spurs. Now, I know for a fact that Tottenham will roll over against Manchester City. because their fan base will want them to roll over against Manchester City. But their players and their manager won't, because they'll fight all the way to get Champions League football, which really is what they should be looking at. Football clubs should concentrate on their own business, but we know it doesn't work like that, right? And I know that if we were in a scenario similar, a lot of the fan base that we have would say, roll over. No way do I want anything being lifted at White Hart Lane in terms of a trophy. Now, we've been lucky over the last few hundred years because they don't seem to win a lot, right? But if it was to come the day where you had to sacrifice a result to go our way to allow Tottenham to lift a trophy, how would you guys feel? So I understand the position the Tottenham fans are in, but I don't think Ange Postecoglou and the team are a sort of team that wants to just roll over and die. So I'd be very surprised if that does happen. Now, it's a very, very difficult game for Manchester City at that place because they've only actually scored one goal there and beaten them once. That was this season in the FA Cup. Other than that, I think they've struggled there. So these two games at the weekend and against Manchester City for Spurs have got, and they've got Liverpool at home, who a lot of people think are now out of it now. Liverpool at Anfield. I do feel like they could have a say. They could. Now, that doesn't mean let's get excited about Spurs. We're relevant again. We're the ones that are going to decide the title. Just, yeah, you will be. What do you want, a trophy? Do you want a medal for that? How about come fight with us for the title? Yeah? Apparently, most of your team get into our combined 11s from what I'm seeing online and social media. So why aren't you up there with us? Because that's another thing. And I put this on my Twitter status yesterday or the day before. Combined 11s need to get in the bin, man. I'm sick of them. Honestly, I love doing combined 11s in history. Premier League combined 11s, talking about who the best Premier League goalkeeper was, or combining an all-time Arsenal and Manchester United combined 11. That's quite fun because you can have real debates about proper players. But when we're shoehorning players in and forcing them into positions so we can get some other lad in, or we're talking about who's on form or who's overall or who, if they hadn't been injured, would get in, it's actually a mess. And I look at some of the combined 11s, it's actually quite embarrassing that people are fighting for both of the Tottenham centre halves to get in over our two centre halves. They're fighting for Vicario and Raya, although I don't think that's a huge debate, really. I think that, a huge difference, I should say. I think both have been very good. I look at some of the positions. Pedro Porro over Ben White. I mean, are we actually being serious here? Like, Pedro Porro goes forward, but the guy cannot defend. Why is he playing at a right back? Like, let's be real. Why is he getting in a right back ahead of Ben White, who can do both? Listen, I have got no. I'll do it quickly with you now. I've got no qualms with Udogi playing left back because we've been a mess at left back this year, right? I've got no problems with that. Debate the keeper all you want. I'll go with Raya because he's got the golden glove. Saliba and Gabriel walk in, so does Ben White, and Udogi can get in at left back. In midfield, I am more than happy to say that the midfield trio will be Rice, Maddison and Ødegaard. If that's what you want to do, you play Rice in the six and you have two attacking eights in Maddison and Ødegaard. If that's what you want, that's cool. Thomas Partey on form would get in. Overall would get in, but hasn't been playing enough. I don't think Sarr's had a bad season, but he ain't been better than Ødegaard or Maddison for me. And then obviously Basuma's a mess. Bentancur, no. There we go. Right. So that's the midfield trio: Rice, Maddison, and Ødegaard. And then for me, it has to be Saka, Trossard, and Son. Now, Havertz, people will say, oh, that's harsh that he's not got in there. But Trossard's been ridiculous this season, how many goals he scored. Son, he deserves his mention because he's been good for Spurs. But don't give me any of this Brennan Johnson guy and Kulusevski and Werner and all this crap. Like, some of the Spurs fans, they just got to stop, man. It's actually becoming quite embarrassing, man. And half of them are trolling, I get it. But let's be real. Like, Arsenal's 11. I'll give them Maddison, Son, and Udogi. That's it. The rest of them are Arsenal players. And you can debate those three all you want if you want. And you know what? You'd have a fair debate to say maybe Havertz deserves it, or maybe Partey does deserve to come in, or maybe Tomiyasu. Whatever you want to do, that's fine. Debate it. But the ones that aren't debatable for me are the ones that I've put in that are Arsenal. It's crazy for me. It really is, man. So let's see what happens. You're getting your head spun at the lane. See you soon, says the diddler. Let's see, bro. Let's see. Apparently so. Apparently we're getting slapped up. We're getting smashed. We're getting beaten up. They're going to do us 3-0, 4-0. Go on then. Stop talking about it. Just do it. Just do it. Just go and beat us 4-0, please. So that for me is what I'd love, because they all tell us they're going to do it and it never does happen. Go and beat us 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever it is you're going to go and slap us up with. Because this is what we hear every year. And we hear this when they come to the Emirates as well. So that's the way it is, man. The fan base are a little bit deluded over there. But we've got that in our fan base as well. It's what happens in football. Let's talk about the team news, shall we? Let's talk about the team news. I think the Arsenal team picks itself. It's the same team that played against Chelsea. We absolutely mashed them up. Now, I don't expect us to mash Spurs up with that team. I think it's a completely different Spurs side. And I do believe personally that this Chelsea side in the second half completely give up. Now, I hope Tottenham do that because that means that we're going to have a nice chance to put some goals past them, right? Um, but I expect this Spurs side to try to give us a proper game that's going to make it tight and awkward. And I'll give you my prediction on that a little bit later. But I think the team picks itself for Arsenal. I think that with Raya in goal, with Ben White in right back, Saliba and Gabriel, and then Tommy Asu plays for me at left back. No Zinchenko, no Kivior. Has to be Tommy. I thought he was good against Chelsea. I think he's our best defender at left back. And I do think that with his one-on-one and his aerial ability, we should be playing Tommy Asu there 100%. So that's why I will go with Tommy. In midfield, I just cannot wait and I pray that we play Partey, Rice, and Erdegaard because that for me was an unbelievable trio against Chelsea. And it was a trio I looked at and I thought to myself, that is what we've been missing the whole of this season. We've only played and started that trio in the Community Shield back in August. We've not been able to play that trio for the whole time. Now, they have gone and made appearances together here and there. Like they've come on for a few minutes against, I think it was Man City. They come on for a few minutes against one of the teams at Sheffield United or Burnley, I think, to make it. But they didn't start. That's the first time they've started together since the Community Shield. And Thomas Partey was back to his best. I've got to say this. Thomas Partey was back to his best the other night, dominating that midfield. Fantastic in transition, superb interceptions, great passing. Always going to let one or two go astray because he's still getting into the mix, but fantastic. Declan Rice, absolute general in midfield there, man. Driving forward, interceptions all over the field, covered every blade of grass, 110% effort. We're going to see that. Yeah, we're going to see that. He hates Tottenham. Yeah. He used to hate him when he played for West Ham. He hates him even more now he plays for the Arsenal, right? So Declan Rice is going to be on one tomorrow. Let's have it right. And in that number 8, I really like him. I think he's a fantastic 6, but I do think our future is with Declan Rice at that 8. Now, if we do lose Partey or Jorginho or both, it might be that Rice is playing in that 6 next season, and Arteta does see him as the 6, and we go and buy another 8. But we're going to be buying an 8 or a 6 in the summer, maybe both. And it's going to be key for who we get to see where Rice's future is, because he can play in both. He's good in both. Martin Odegaard. Let's see what he does against Spurs this season, because last season away he was phenomenal. By far the best player, brilliant goal, controlled our midfield. This time they've got Maddison, they've got Bissouma, they've got Sarr, they've got Bentancur, they've got options in midfield. But for me, I think Odegaard can really get on the game here, and I think he'll be allowed some space to play. So I'm looking forward to seeing the performance from Martin Odegaard that we've seen all of this year. 2024 has been Martin Odegaard's year. He has literally been our best player, along with Ben White for me, consistently. The pair of them have been phenomenal. And I think in most games, he's been turning up. Whether it be Bayern Munich, where we weren't good, he turned up. Whether it be Aston Villa, where we weren't good, he come off and we ended up conceding 2. Whether it be the smaller games where we've absolutely blitzed teams, he's been incredible. And for me, Odegaard is probably now put himself up with a mention for player of the season and player of the and team of the season. And I wouldn't have said that, if I'm honest, before. At the start of the season, he was good, but he was not running games like he is now. And I think when people talk about player of the season, if Arsenal win the league, it will be Declan Rice, and it should be Declan Rice. Gabriel and Saliba deserve a mention as well. But I think now as well, you've got Odegaard up there. You really have, because Odegaard's been phenomenal. And fair play to him, because he deserves it. He does. He deserves a mention. He's been great. He's led by example. He's been a good captain. And you know what? When I saw us signing Martin Odegaard, and I've got to say this, and I said this on with Deji, I wasn't devastated at all. I really liked him. I didn't think he was outstanding in his first season on loan at Arsenal. I thought he was good, and I thought he showed some glimpses of what he could be. But when we were linked with James Maddison, I was like, please go and get him, because we can play with both. And I think it's proven that actually Maddison could play in that attacking 8, a little bit like Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne have done with Rodri. I think we could have had Rice, Odegaard, Maddison. But I have to say, when I said that Maddison was better than Odegaard a couple of years ago because of his goals and assists, in the last 18 months to 2 years, I think Odegaard has shown that he's better. I think he's shown his class. I think he's been more creative. I think he's got more technical ability. I think he looks more beautiful on the ball. Maddison's a lot more turn, spin, go drive at defenders, and he can put a shot away. Odegaard has got that creativity, that vision, that finesse, that passing range, that ability to drive a team forward. I'm not so sure that Maddison has taken a game by the scruff of the neck like Odegaard has and run with it. So I'm going to have to say that. I do think now I can hold my hands up and say, yeah, I got it wrong, man. Odegaard is better than James Maddison. And it wasn't long ago, it probably was only 18 months ago, that I thought Maddison was going to be one of the best midfielders. And let me say this, I think he's incredible. For all you Spurs fans in the chat, I think you've got an absolutely wonderful talent there. But Odegaard, I think, has got that X factor, man. He really has. Across the front three, I think Saka, Trossard, and Havertz are going to be the three. Martinelli and Jesus are the ones that at the moment are trying to force their way back into the side. They're trying to be the super sub that Trossard has been. Trossard and Havertz keep scoring, so we can't take them out the side. And I know it's important to rotate and it's important to give everyone game time, but when someone's starting and scoring goals, you can't take them off. And Trossard, for me, he scored against Brighton when he come on. He started against Wolves and he scored. He started against Chelsea and he scored. You've got to keep him in. So I've got to say that. You've got to keep him in now. And I think for me, Trossard will be remembered this season as one of the best players in the team. Technically gifted, can use both feet, really quick with his feet as well, knows where the goal is, and I think best finisher at the club. Best finisher at the club. You cannot leave your best finisher of the club out now. And I actually do prefer Trossard, funny enough, in that number 9 position, but you can't drop Havertz there at the moment. Kai Havertz, let's talk on him. Goals and assists are there. He's not been a flop. Arteta has stuck with him. He's grown in confidence. I think he's an important player. And I know my mum don't like him. You know, we go to the games every home game and we sit there as a freebie. My mum and dad, me and my dad are like, look, I don't know what more he can do. My mum's just not a fan. She just doesn't like his style of player. You know, she thinks he's quite a lazy player. She thinks he's a bit lackluster, not really that high intensity players like a Martinelli or someone like that she really likes watching. So I get that and I understand that he's not that style, but at the moment in 2024, the guy has been really good. And the goals and assists are there. The stats don't lie. This guy has been really important to us, man. So, yeah. That's where we're at, man. That's where we're at right now. That's our front three. Saka, big game for him needed. I thought he was a little bit better against Chelsea. Thought he was a little bit better against Wolves. We're still not seeing the Saka that we all love. I do think the kid probably needs a break, to be fair. And he's not going to get one, unfortunately, this season or in the summer before the Euros. And I think that position is probably as important as all the others in the summer. Let's make sure we go and get that winger. I don't care whether it's Pedro Neto, whether it's Michael Olise, whoever it is we're linked with, go and get a replacement for Bukayo Saka or get a striker and play Jesus wide out there more. Because for me, we definitely need this kid to be rested, man, and rotated. I can't have this guy playing the amount of games that he's playing on the whole of next season as well, because he will just burn out and he won't make 26, the poor lad, you know? So that's the way that I see it with Bukayo Saka. So that's my Arsenal team. Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Rice, Partey, and Erdegaard. And then the front three of Trossard, Havertz, and Saka. More than happy to see Jesus. More than happy to see Martinelli. I think Smith Rowe and Vieira are being used a little bit more, depending on the result. If you notice the results, if we're comfortably 2 or 3-0 up, he's quite happy to play Smith Rowe, Nelson, Vieira, and Nketiah. When we're fighting for it, that's when I think you might see a little bit different shape in terms of maybe Jesus, Zinchenko, and Martinelli coming on and trying to change up that left-hand side. Because there's no denying that left-hand side has been chopped and changed too much this season. There's been no sustainability in that left-hand side. And some of that is because of injury to Timber and Partey. And it makes me wonder if Timber and Partey would have had an injury-free season, where Arsenal would be right now. Because that left-hand side would be very, very set in stone. Gabriel, Timber, Partey, and Martinelli or Trossard. But it's been chopped and changed too much for me. We've had too many different left backs. We've had too many different left eights, too many different left wingers, and too many different forwards, if I'm honest with you. So I look at it now and think that needs addressing in the summer. I'm not saying we need to go and buy a whole new left side, but we need to look at where we are with 1 or 2 positions. I think the left 8 is a big question mark on who starts there and who plays there. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Okay. As for Spurs, what do I expect? Well, I know they've got problems at left back, but other than that, I think they're pretty much set in stone. So Vicario will start in goal. It will be Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, and Ben Davies. Now, if it's not Ben Davies, which I hope it is, because I think we can get him. If it's not, there's rumours that Dragushin will play with Romero and Van de Ven will play at left back. Now, that would be very, very different because Van de Ven is a very good defender. Um, and he's got some pace and aggression about him. And Dragushin is very good in the air. So I think that's why Tottenham fans are looking at that. But a lot of people that I speak to that are Spurs fans are also saying that it will be Davies that plays left back. So we'll have to watch out for that one and see where we're at left back. In midfield for Tottenham, they've got some options. They can play Bentancur, they can play Sarr, they can play Basuma. Maddison is definite. I think Basuma will be definite at the 6. And then I think the other option will probably be Bentancur. But I don't know. Maybe some of the Spurs fans in the chat can let me know what you think your midfield trio would be, because you've got some serious options there now. Papasar, a lot of people are saying no. Højbjerg, some people have said would come in just to be a bit nasty in this game. Maybe we'll see that. But I think their best when everyone's fit is probably Basuma, Bentancur, and Maddison, right? Now, Sarr's been very good this season, and I get that. And I get why people would want to put him in there. But I'm not sure about where Spurs' heads are at with that one. So that could be an interesting battle. I think we can dominate their midfield, whatever. I think Partey, Rice, and Odegaard can do the business. So I'm not too worried about their midfield and who does start. I think they're all a similar level, really, other than James Maddison, to be fair. And then it's a front three, which I imagine will probably be Kulusevski on the right, Son on the left, and Richarlison through the middle. That's what I imagine it will be. But they could play on the left Timo Werner. They could play Brennan Johnson on the right, some people have mentioned, and Son through the middle. So, again, midfield trio and front three, I don't think there's any standout players other than Son and Maddison that will definitely start. I think there could be a couple of surprises that Ange Postecoglou goes with, but I don't quite know who it's going to be. Now, you've got to remember as well that Spurs have not played for 15 days, I believe it is now, which is great because they've had a rest. But momentum is so key in football. It's so key. And I do believe that Arsenal have got the momentum with them right now. We played Chelsea midweek. We've now got this game coming up at the midweek, and it was a really good couple of wins against Wolves and Chelsea. Massively, massively, massively important that we won those 2 games and convincingly won them. Because let's be real, Wolves was a bit of a dead rubber game. It was a bit like, bit dead, bit flat, bit blunt. But actually, we did the business, and they didn't cause us much problems other than one Raya save onto the post. With Chelsea, we blitzed them, and that's what we needed to do for confidence. And I think the momentum was with us, and I think the players came back at the right time, i.e., Thomas Partey, Tomiyasu back at left back, and I hope that continues, because for me, that's really, really important that we get an understanding of how that Arsenal team will end this season with what 4 games left. So let's just look at where we're at as an 11 right now. We're in a good place. We're in a good place. And for me, it has to be that trio and that front three. Arsenal got a little bit more strength on the bench right now. Yeah, we have. We've got a little bit more strength on the bench. So I think this game is going to be a real good one for the neutrals. I think it's going to be a very close encounter. I don't think it's going to be 3 or 4-0 here to either side. I think we're going to go at it. The fans are going to make this as hostile as they can. Don't be surprised if outside the ground you see trouble. Don't be surprised if you see flares. Don't be surprised if you see a lot of hostility from the fan base, because these fans will do anything they can to take points off of us in this game. Whether it's a draw or a win, they'll celebrate it because they basically stopped us winning the league. Let's be real. Arsenal drop points here, whether it's a draw or lose, the league's done. I think it might be done already. So it's definitely done if we lose this one or drop points to here. Any other game now, between now and Everton, Bournemouth and Man United in between, we drop points, it's done. So teams know that when they come in against Arsenal, and they know that they're going to be all out to try and get something off of us. So there's a lot of pressure on Arsenal, and I don't want to have to leave Spurs knowing that the title was completely done and dusted, because it will be. So we have to go and get up for it. So let's see. Let's see what happens. When it comes to the prediction, I've gone for 2-1 Arsenal. I don't think this one's going to be a walkover. A lot of people I've seen 3-1s, 3-0s, 4-1s, 4-0s. Not for me. Not for me. From either side as well, by the way. I've seen a lot of 3-2s this season from predictions this weekend from Arsenal and Spurs perspective. So they think there's going to be a lot of goals and a few goals in this game and a close game. I'm going to go 2-1, not just quite so many goals, but I think there will be goals in this one. And I fancy Kai Havertz scoring again. I do. I fancy Kai Havertz scoring again. And I fancy Trossard scoring again. I think Son will score for them and get his annual goal that he always gets. But other than that, I'm in a good position as to feeling confident quietly about this game. I think Spurs are going to be up for this, but Arsenal are going to be up for it as well. And people forget sometimes what this does to the fan base and the players, our side. This is one that we're up for, right? We're buzzing for this one. This is the one we want. We want to make sure that we beat Spurs so we can shut them up and that we can not have them as the reason as to why we lost the league. And then let's have to do us a favour and pick up a point against Man City and allow us to win the league if we win our last remaining 3 games. That would be the dream, right? That would be the dream. Before we finish up, I want to talk on this Marcus Rashford news. Now, Marcus Rashford is being rumoured to leave Manchester United. The reason Marcus Rashford is being rumoured to leave Manchester United is because he is trash. Marcus Rashford. I do not think that this guy has got the mentality to make it to the top. This is nothing about Man United treating him badly. Yes, they've not treated him great, but let's be real. There's other players at clubs that have been treated pretty badly that have still managed to go to that next level and that elite level. Now, when this kid come on the block, he was a young 17-year-old, scored a couple of goals against us, and I thought to myself, yeah, he could be the real deal here. He went to England, he was played on the left, he looked pretty good. He was played up front on the left for Man United. He looked like he could have some future ahead of him. But since then, I have not ever seen him take it to the next level. He's always stayed at that level for me. And I don't see much difference between a Marcus Rashford and players in the past such as Gabby Agbonlahor, Theo Walcott. Who else is there that we can put in that bracket? I'm not going to go be harsh and say it's like a Downing, Routledge or Nathan Dyer because that would be harsh. But Rashford's had a couple of seasons where he's hit towards 15 goals, which you would say is good for a winger. But I'm sorry. If he's going for anything between 50 million and 80 million, no way is Arsenal getting near that. Because what I don't understand is when Arsenal fans say Mikel Arteta could work with him and he can be his little project. No more projects. No more projects. No more projects. Yeah? No more projects. Ready-made players that walk into this side. I'm sorry, Z. I know you don't like what I say. I know it hurts you because you really rate Rashford as a Man United fan, and big up to you. But I do not see a consistent level of performance from this guy to put him in the elite bracket. And I hear Manchester United fans only 2 years ago calling him their Mbappe. What are they watching? This guy's got a poor mentality. This guy throws a tantrum. He walks off with a limp against Coventry because he ain't got the mentality to hack it. Rather walk off injured than fight for his team. He came on an interview saying, do not ever question my commitment to Manchester United. And I see him waltzing around the pitch, allowing Ross Barkley to just run past him, walk past him. This guy isn't good enough, man. And I think for me, he epitomizes everything that's wrong with Manchester United. An overplayed, overhyped, overpriced player that needs to be gone. And I think if PSG or somebody like that were to come in, Manchester United should cut their losses and go, boom, let's go. He's done with Man United. He needs to go. And I think Manchester United would be a better place without players like that. But that's just my opinion. Man United fans might want to hang on to this guy, make him our leader, our captain. He's the one that come from our youth academy. The geezer is nearly 27, isn't he? He's not a kid anymore. This guy's got maybe 3 years at the best of his game now. And we haven't seen anything. I mean, this season he has been nothing short of poor. It's been terrible. Last season, you could have actually said that he had an argument of getting into the team of the season in terms of a left winger. He was good. Ain't seen enough, man. Ain't seen enough. If he was to be put into a better environment, he might hit one of those heights again 1 or 2 seasons. But I just don't see this guy as an elite level footballer. And that's all I'm at. So I think for me, it would be bad news to bring that mentality into a positive dressing room at the moment, which is something that we are. There's no doubt that he would probably fit in with some of the young English lads. I've got no doubt about that. But I just don't think it would be a good signing for Arsenal. The other 2 players I wanted to touch on both belong to Newcastle Football Club. Bruno Guimaraes has got a release clause. Now, if Bruno Guimaraes was to go from Newcastle, would he stay in England is the question a lot of people put to me. And I think he would. PSG, Manchester City and Arsenal are the 3 clubs interested in him. Why would he go to PSG? It's a farmers' league, as people call it. They're not guaranteed any other trophy than the actual league that they are competing in. So no Champions League, especially without Mbappe. I think it's City or Arsenal. Now, what worries me is that Manchester City are linked with Lucas Paqueta, and it looks like he's going to go to Manchester City as long as this gambling stuff's sorted, right? Lucas Paqueta's best friend is Bruno Guimaraes, and Bruno Guimaraes and Lucas Paqueta apparently were best men at each other's weddings. So if Manchester City are to buy Bruno Guimaraes and Lucas Paqueta for a combined, what would it be, £185 million on 2 release clauses, they've got themselves a midfield to work alongside Rodri and Foden. And that, for me, is a massive upgrade on Nunez and Kovacic. So I can see that happening. I have to be honest with you guys. Now, a lot of people are talking about Joshua Kimmich as being somebody that Manchester City would like. And if one doesn't get the other, then maybe the other will get Kimmich. So what I mean by that is if we don't go for Bruno Guimaraes, maybe we should go for Kimmich. If Manchester City want Kimmich, maybe we should go for Bruno Guimaraes. So listen, it wouldn't surprise me if Man City got all bloody three of them because that's the sort of club that they are. But right now, for me, I think Paqueta looks City bound. Joshua Kimmich, I'm not sure about. Bruno Guimaraes is a lot of interest with Arsenal, Man City, and PSG. Now we nearly got Bruno Guimaraes, if you remember, when he was playing at Lyon, and I don't quite know what happened there, but we obviously didn't want him that season for whatever reason, and we waited until January to buy Jorginho. But we were really interested in signing him, and it was a player I wanted. And when he come to Newcastle, I was like, why did we not get him? Why did we not get him? Newcastle fans would like to say they could keep him. Newcastle fans would like to say that he will go abroad and not stay at Arsenal or Manchester City in England. But I have to say, I think he'd be a wonderful player. He can play in the 6, he can play in the 8. He's won the most fouls in the Premier League. He's won most of his duels in the Premier League. And in the 6 top European leagues, he's top in terms of stats in midfield. That is the sort of player we need. Him, Rice, Erdegaard, with Partey as backup, it would be a phenomenal midfield. Let's have it right. He's also got that little bit of shithousery about him. He's got that bit of aggression. I hated playing against him this season at St James Park. He's been a phenomenal player for Newcastle. And Newcastle fans don't want to lose him, but that release clause of 100 million would allow him to be. Now, the release clause apparently goes out of date or doesn't expire, or whatever it's called, sometime in June. So this has to be done before June, release clause wise, if a club wants Bruno Guimaraes. And I think Arsenal would spend the £100 million release clause on another player like Declan Rice, another Bruno Guimaraes type signing, because that for me is what we need in midfield. The other player I wanted to mention at Newcastle is Alexander Isak, and I don't see that he will leave this summer. I think he might stay one more with Newcastle and see where his position is. But I do know, and we all know, that he's good friends with Martin Ødegaard because they both played together at Real Sociedad and they were literally setting each other up for fun. I think Ødegaard got 14 assists that year and Isak got that as many goals plus more. And that was why people started to look at him as a youngster. I wanted this guy and everyone was against it at the time. And I don't know why, because we only had Eddie and Ketia. I wanted Isak. I wanted him when he went to Newcastle. He's going to be over £100 million now, probably. Now, his injury record might mean that he might be going for a bit less than that. Maybe we can get him for 100. But if I was to say to Arsenal fans now, that we could sell the likes of Ramsdale, get some money, Tierney get some money, Smith Rowe get some money, Nelson and Ketia get some money, and then get rid of some of the dead wood like Lokonga, Tavares, Cedric Elneny, players like that. And we add what we've got there to an Isak and Bruno Guimaraes summer. It might cost 200 million, but I'm all right with that because they're getting straight into our first team. Isak becomes our number 9 and Bruno Guimaraes is in our midfield with Rice and Ødegaard. And that, for me, is probably one of the strongest 11s you're going to see in the league. And yes, we need another cover for Saka and a centre-back. But other than that, we're pretty much done. So for me, I think that we could do that, personally. So no, I don't want Marcus Rashford. But yes, I would take Isak and Bruno Guimaraes 100%. I like the sound of Victor Gyökeres, who is I think his 85 million release clause. Absolutely killing it over in Sporting Lisbon. Has never injured. Got everything about his game as a number 9. Quite old school number 9. For me, I'm a big fan. Big fan. So I have to say, yeah, I'm a big fan of what I've seen so far from Victor Gyökeres. But Isak would be my number 1. Bruno Guimaraes would be right up there, being my number 1. Probably with a Frankie de Jong type midfielder who's a brilliant ball carrier. Bruno Guimaraes, though, I would say has a lot more to his game. I think he's a very good midfielder. 26 years old, would fit in with the Brazil link. So he's got the Brazil boys, the Martinellis, the Gabbies, the Gabby Jesuses, Gabriels, etc. I think he'd be a phenomenal signing for Arsenal. So watch this space. But listen, that comes in the summer. Let's worry about now. Big game at the weekend. Make sure you do me a favor, people. Smash your likes, smash your subscriptions. Make sure that you tell me in the comments what you think the score will be. Make sure you comment on this video as well. If you can, like and subscribe as you leave. That would be amazing, because it will take us very close to 20k, which is our next target. So please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. It is free. It is not a paid subscription. You literally hit the like and the subscribe and it's done. So thanks so much for that. We've got 250 people still watching in here, right? Let's see how many likes we're on. I want to know how many likes we're on right now. Where are we at? Oh, my mouse has stopped working. So we are only on 82 likes. Come on, people. We've got 250 of you in here. Please make sure you do me a favor and smash that like button. Let's get that up to 150 before we leave. All you've got to do is click it. It takes 2 seconds and you can come straight back into the chat. We're going to get out of here. Make sure you click like, subscribe, and hit that Surfshark VPN. Make sure that you get that done and sorted. And up the Arsenal. We will see you next time. And by then, we will know exactly what's happened at White Hart Lane. Come on, you Gunners. Yes, judges.
Hello, Dan. How you doing? You
What are you
all
up to, bro?
I'm actually watching the football, mate. This Surfshark VPN is a lifesaver, mate. You can watch the football with a dodgy Wi-Fi, even at the Emirates when you've got a big crowd there and everything like that, watching the football. Unbelievable.
Easy to set up? Well, it must be if you've done it, mate.
Oh, very, very funny. Even abroad you can watch all your favourite programmes. It's like being at home, mate.
And that's exactly what you guys can do too. Click the link in the description for Surfshark VPN.